A massive roster shakeup in the desert is sending shockwaves across the entire league, and the Chicago Bears have a golden opportunity staring them right in the face. The Arizona Cardinals just made two earth-shattering personnel moves that could immediately supercharge Chicago's defensive front and inject pure explosive talent into the offensive backfield before final cutdown day arrives. If this front office wants to prove to the entire football world that they are dead serious about building an immediate championship contender, they need to pick up the phone right now before a hated rival beats them to the punch. If you live and breathe Chicago football and want unfiltered, hard-hitting breakdowns every single day, go ahead and smash that like button, share this video with your fellow fans, and hit subscribe right now. Let us get right into the chaos developing in Arizona, because things are moving at lightning speed. NFL insider Adam Schefter broke the news that the Arizona Cardinals have officially activated star pass rusher Josh Sweat off the physically unable to perform list. Now you have to ask yourself why this timing is so crucial. We are sitting mere days away from the final 53-man roster cutdowns, and Josh Sweat has been floating in the center of relentless trade rumors throughout this entire offseason. Is this sudden activation actually about getting him ready to play for Arizona, or is the front office flashing a massive neon sign to contenders across the league that their marquee edge rusher is healthy and open for business? When you step back and look at the whole timeline, this entire situation in the desert has felt like a powder keg waiting to blow. Remember, Josh Sweat signed a lucrative 4-year, $76 million contract with Arizona specifically to reunite with Jonathan Gannon, his former defensive coordinator from their days with the Philadelphia Eagles. But football moves fast and unforgivingly. Just 1 year into that massive commitment, the Cardinals completely imploded, finished with a miserable record, and fired Gannon at the conclusion of the season. That left Sweat in an absolute nightmare scenario. Local reporters in Arizona began uncovering behind-the-scenes rumblings that Sweat quietly requested a trade almost immediately after the coaching purge. He completely skipped voluntary organized team activities in the spring. He only showed up to mandatory minicamp for the sole purpose of avoiding heavy league fines, all while the organization tried to put on a happy face and pretend the vibes were immaculate. Then training camp arrived, and Sweat spent nearly an entire month completely sidelined with what the team vaguely described as knee management. He did not finish last year with a major reported knee injury, which makes the whole timeline look even more calculated. He barely participated in a single padded practice under this new staff, only to suddenly be pulled off the shelf less than a week before cutdowns. The writing is plastered all over the wall. Josh Sweat does not want to be part of a multi-year teardown and rebuild in Arizona. He is a 29-year-old game wrecker who is coming off a career-best season in quarterback sacks. A rebuilding franchise has zero use for an expensive veteran edge rusher when they could easily flip him for valuable draft picks. Meanwhile, Sweat wants nothing more than to compete meaningful snaps for a team with genuine postseason aspirations. That brings everything right to the doorstep of the Chicago Bears. Imagine what this defense would look like if Ryan Poles pulled the trigger on a trade right now. You would immediately pair Josh Sweat on the opposite boundary with Montez Sweat, giving Chicago one of the most athletic and disruptive edge-rushing tandems in the entire National Football League. Think about the sheer nightmare that creates for opposing offensive coordinators. You have Montez Sweat commanding double teams on one side, Josh Sweat flying off the edge on the other, young sensation Austin Booker rotating in on obvious passing downs, and Dayo Odeyingbo sliding between defensive end and interior 3 technique to create absolute chaos up front. That 4-man pass-rushing rotation gives this defense the juice, depth, and relentless wave of pressure required to close out tight games in the fourth quarter. Now, let us be completely realistic about the price tag. Josh Sweat is an elite situational pass rusher, but he is not a dominant, heavy-handed run stopper. Because of that, you are never giving up a first-round or second-round draft pick. But if Arizona is willing to accept a third-round selection, or perhaps a fourth-rounder package with an expendable depth player, Chicago should finalize that paperwork without hesitating for a single second. If that logic alone does not convince you, look at the terrifying alternative. Jonathan Gannon is now the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. The Packers are currently dealing with serious depth concerns on the edge, especially with Micah Parsons slated to miss time early in the year and Lucas Van Ness failing to develop into a consistent threat. Green Bay is the most obvious trade destination for Sweat, and you know without a doubt that he would leap at the chance to reunite with Gannon. Letting a high-end pass rusher walk straight into the locker room of your fiercest division rival, where he would spend the next 3 seasons hunting your young franchise quarterback twice a year, is a disaster scenario Chicago simply cannot allow to unfold. That brings us directly to our official question of the day. What is the absolute highest draft pick or player package you would be willing to give up to land Josh Sweat in Chicago? Or would you avoid making a trade entirely? Type out your exact trade offers in the comments section below, because I want to hear how aggressive you think this front office should be. Personally, a third-round selection or a day 3 package is the perfect sweet spot to add 8 to 10 guaranteed sacks to your front without mortgaging future flexibility. Just when you thought the news out of Arizona was finished, the Cardinals dropped a second absolute shocker that presents Chicago with another massive opportunity. Arizona officially waived second-year running back Trey Benson with an injury designation. To break down how that process works, if Benson clears through the league waiver wire unclaimed, he will automatically revert to Arizona's season-ending injured reserve list, unless both sides negotiate an injury settlement that allows him to test free agency. The chatter indicates that Benson is still managing some lingering discomfort related to the torn meniscus that prematurely cut his season short after just 17 career games. While that knee issue creates some questions, the reward far outweighs any potential risk for Chicago. Benson was a highly touted third-round selection out of Florida State just 2 years ago, and his contract carries a cap hit of roughly $1.6 million this season. That is virtually veteran minimum money for a 23-year-old running back with immense natural talent. When Benson was on the field, his per-touch efficiency was outstanding. He averaged 4.6 yards per carry during his rookie year and pushed that mark up over 5 yards per attempt during his limited action last season. He is a 6'1", 215-pound physical specimen who electrified scouts by running a sub-4 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine. Back in college at Florida State, Benson posted back-to-back seasons near the 1,000-yard rushing mark while averaging 6 yards per carry, proving he has the vision, contact balance, and pure breakaway speed to be an absolute weapon in an outside-zone offensive scheme. He sees the crease, plants his foot, and explodes into the second level of the defense with terrifying burst. Compare that upside to Chicago's current battle for the third running back spot. Roscoe Johnson is a tough, physical runner between the tackles, but he has battled his own share of injuries and simply lacks the home run speed to change a game in a single snap. Reserve options like Salvon Ahmed bring veteran experience and agility, but they possess a very clear ceiling. Trey Benson brings genuine starting caliber upside to your depth chart. If you submit a waiver claim and win him, there is practically zero downside. You can cut a fringe player like Britton Brown, bring Benson into the building immediately, and let your medical staff evaluate the knee up close over the final days of the preseason. Even if you have to manage his snaps early on, you secure a dynamic young playmaker who could easily blossom into a primary rotational weapon alongside your starting backfield for years to come. Chicago sits in the 20s on the waiver priority order, so competition will be fierce, but Ryan Poles must submit a claim before the 3 o'clock deadline passes. Would you pull the trigger on a waiver claim for Trey Benson, or do his previous knee injuries make you too nervous to take the gamble? Let your voice be heard down below. Keep your eyes glued to every single roster update as cut-down day approaches, because big moves are right around the corner.